Hi, this is Chatterboxing. I'm Sean, and I want to talk in this video about the Terence Crawford fight from Saturday night. I'm just going to call the other bloke Meme Machine because it's easier than trying to pronounce his name. That's the first time I've seen Meme Machine fight, and to be honest with you, I thought he looked pretty good. I'd be quite interested to see him now against some of the other welterweights. Hopefully that beating that he took, that doesn't really take him too much away from his confidence. Coming into it, he was obviously a mandatory challenger, so he'd worked his way up there. He'd had a pretty high knockout ratio, unbeaten. Not a great list of names in his record, but a couple of people that I knew. Got a draw with Ray Robinson, who I've seen looked pretty good to me. Thought he was unlucky to get a draw against Josh Kelly. So, Mean Machine was a pretty solid contender, not a world beater, but nevertheless a pretty game opponent, and he turned up obviously trying to win, not just there to make up the numbers. I actually quite liked the fight that he did. He fought with I liked it. His timing was good, his punch selection was good. He's obviously strong, powerful, and he was really trying to take it to Crawford. I mean, obviously as an unbeaten bloke with a high knockout ratio, that's what you would have expected, but he must have been going in there thinking this is a massive step up in class. Now, I think he and probably most people expected Crawford to move around a bit more and use the foot speed advantage that he does have. But Crawford's obviously very versatile. He can pretty much do anything in there. He can fight obviously orthodox southpaw on the inside from range. He can sort of box and move. He can have just a tear up. He can do anything. So he decided to just pretty much beat up Mean Machine in this fight, which was good to watch. Mean Machine did, gave a good account of himself, but ultimately just got broken down and beaten up. I think Mean Machine, by knocking him down in the second, was it the second round or the third round? He kind of woke up the beast a little bit in Crawford. Now it's almost like when you play football and you score in the first 5 minutes or so. Then you think, well, we've now they're going to step up their game, and now we've got all this time now to sort of defend, and it's almost like woken them up a bit, and that's what happened with Crawford. And he's that type of fighter that if he does get knocked down, he just gets pissed off, gets back up, and just wants to beat the shit out of you, and that's pretty much what he did. And there were a couple of moments in there where he got caught with some good punches. Mean Machine, obviously a pretty decent puncher and strong, as I say, quite accurate and good timing. So it was quite dangerous for him to be fighting like that when he didn't really need to be. He made the fight more competitive than it could have been. I think he could have quite easily have just boxed on the back foot, picked him off, picked up the rounds, especially like being a champion, and just won a pretty comfortable decision. Maybe tried to put it on him a bit in the later rounds, but he didn't. Now, whether that was because he got pissed off when he knocked him down, that just sort of competitive spirit within him, or whether he was just wanting to put on a show, maybe he's just a bit sort of fed up of all the boxing politics being frozen out, or maybe he's just getting a bit complacent, because he's in a position now where I don't really remember the last time I saw Crawford in a competitive fight. Off the top of my head, he pretty much dominates everyone. I mean, I'm trying to think, recently, obviously the Victor Postal fight was supposed to be a tough fight. Just completely dominated that, made it look easy. Then he fought against, I'm trying to think of the order of it, but Felix Diaz, Olympic gold medalist, good fighter, just completely beat him easily. Jeff Horn, who just sort of manhandled Pacquiao, just went up there, first fight that weight, beat him up, stopped him. Indongo, unified world champion, just beaten two champions in their home countries. He just went in first, I think it was the first round, just sparked him. So he's really, very, very confident, just sort of steamrolling through or just schooling everyone that he fights. Obviously, you've got all the PBC welterweights not stepping up to fight him. So there's a possibility he got a bit complacent. You could even say a bit arrogant in there, where he's just sort of maybe feeling he's a bit untouchable. Now, you would say that, getting knocked down like that and like so much like that kind of wake you up a little bit, but I don't think it does. He doesn't really see it like that. He just sees it as a right, I'm just gonna fucking do you now. You've knocked me down. So yeah, I think that's personally I think it's a good win for Crawford. I think Mean Machine is he's better than people thought he would be. Obviously, you know how it is. If you never heard of someone, people just assume that we've never heard of him. He's not all that. But there's a lot of these people we don't know who they are, and they turn up and they actually surprise you. He seemed to be like one of them. So this was another good win for Terence Crawford, in my opinion. He got hit. People are saying, he got hit quite. He did get hit. I mean, he basically got into a tear up with the bloke. The bloke's big, strong, tough, pretty solid. You know what I mean? Decent boxing skills. If you just stand in front of someone like that and just have a toe to toe with them, you're gonna get hit, aren't you? I mean, if you're having a punching match with someone, you're going to get punched at times. I don't think there's any particular cause for concern there. I mean, we've seen this from Crawford before. We've seen him have a bit of a war with people, but obviously this is now at welterweight, so this is like the biggest person we've seen him do it with, and yeah, I mean, let's be. It was sort of competitive in a sense that the bloke was still in there and he was still in front of him, he was still trying. But really, it wasn't that competitive in terms of the fight. I mean, there was only going to be one winner. Crawford just stepped it up and just broke him down. Now he did most of it in a southpaw stance. Now, this is the thing like Crawford, because he can just do the southpaw, the orthodox inside. Back foot, you don't really know what you're going to get from him. And when he does the southpaw, he does it really well. Like the jab with the right hand is beautiful. It's like a spear, he just throws it straight out. Because he's got long arms, he's got quick feet, he can just come in and boom, just like spear you. And there's not really much you can do about it. It's very difficult to defend against it. And then he can mix it up, he can kind of turn it into a hook at the last minute. He was doing that quite nicely. The one thing I would say, he's a little bit front hand heavy when he's in that southpaw, so at least he was last night, and I've seen him a bit like that before, where he throws a lot of jabs with it, a lot of right hooks, looping hooks. As I say, it starts off as a jab and then works its way around the guard. There's a lot of stuff with that right hand, not really too many straight lefts. I mean, there are some, and he does use it a bit, but he's very, very reliant on the lead right hand out of that southpaw stance. I mean, I'm nitpicking here if I'm looking at that as a potential problem, because he didn't really need to use it. I mean, but that's something that potentially I'd like to see a little bit more of if he's going to fight from that stance more. Then when he went orthodox, he's just a lot more. There's a lot more variety in his punches. You know, you saw that, like, as he sort of broke him down with it, coming in with those nice jabs over the top. Then towards the last sort of cut, he started switching a little bit to orthodox, then just started bashing them up from all angles, all different, like left hand, right hand, upstairs, down, just all over. So yeah, I mean, overall, very, very impressive performance for me. I mean, that is Crawford. Like, that's one of his style. He's just a natural born fighter, very, very competitive. And if you hurt him, he's not going to shy away from it. He's just going to meet you head on, which potentially could be his undoing one time. We don't know. I don't know if he has the temperament to, if he is hurt, just kind of think, right, I need to stay out of the way and I need to sort of use other advantage, or whether he's just going to go balls to the wall and think, right, fuck it, let's have it. Which I don't know. I mean, obviously there are people who are going to be more of a threat to him than the Mean Machine. So we'll see. But that is something that is a potential weakness. You could say it's a weakness of Crawford, that he's potentially too much of a, I wouldn't say hothead, but he's just got too much a sort of fighting spirit in him, too much fire in him, that if you can piss him off, you can draw him into that kind of war. If he had a more calculated, like kind of Floyd Mayweather style mindset, and he could just sort of, right, I'm going to box you on the back foot, you're not going to get near me because I'm just going to use these, then he would be incredibly difficult. I mean, even more difficult to beat, I think. But yeah, so yeah, overall, I'm happy with that performance as a fan of Crawford. I thought that was good to watch. It was impressive. In terms of what they do now, I mean, Mean Machine, I'd like to see him against I thought he gave a good account of himself. Now, I thought like Crawford and Spence were like the two. Obviously Pacquiao as well, but I keep sort of writing Pacquiao off just because he's old, but he's just sort of done Thurman. I mean, he's no, but really, I thought like Crawford and Spence were like the two, top, like most people did. Spence, obviously, we don't know like what's going on with him. We don't know how long he's going to be out for. If he's ever going to come back as a welterweight, if he's ever going to be a we don't know. Do we have to wait and see? But the fact that he couldn't beat Terence Crawford doesn't mean that he can't, beat a lot of other top people at that weight. Now the problem is, he just got broken down and beaten up in that fight. I don't know what that's going to do for his confidence. We'll see. We'll see if he can come back better from that. But that was quite a convincing loss. But that aside, I think he's sort of shown that he could be in some interesting fights with the other welterweights. Crawford, the fight really to make now, I think, is Sean Porter. Obviously, as I just said about Errol Spence, we don't really know anything about Errol Spence at the moment. That was obviously a very, very serious accident he was in. He's not going to be doing any training for quite a long time. So if he does come back, I personally find it quite difficult to believe that he's going to come back as welterweight, at least immediately. So we'll see. So for now, at least, I think we can take him out of the equation. Keith Thurman, I'd like to see him fight, but who knows what's going on with Keith Thurman? Does he really want to fight anymore? He's shown no interest in fighting Crawford. He's just seemed to sort of talk his way out of it. He wanted to fight Pacquiao, didn't want to fight Spence or Crawford. Potentially that could change, but as of right now, Sean Porter is the one. He's on good form. He's just had a very, very close fight with Errol Spence. A lot of people think it could have gone either way, or it was a very narrow win for Spence. Porter will fight anyone. I mean, he is the one person you sort of think, he's not going to turn down any fight. He's going to come to fight, and he's going to make it a hard night's work for anyone. Also, he's better to watch these days than before. Because Porter, I always respected Porter, but I never really liked watching him. But recently, he started to get a lot more technical, a lot more strategic, develop his ring IQ, and just improve quite a lot. So, yeah, that's the obvious fight to make. If he can go in there and just do a job on Sean Porter, because no one's been able to. I mean, Errol Spence had a very, very close fight. Keith Thurman, very, very close fight. Kell Brook, I don't think it was a close-ish fight. He's going to be a handful. So if Crawford can go in there, do a job on him, then that's going to be a statement. Now, how easy is that going to be to make? I don't know, because I think Crawford. I think Porter will be up. As I say, Porter will be up for fighting anyone. Crawford will be up for it. Bob Arum obviously be up for it. The only thing is, obviously we know that PBC don't want Terence Crawford to fight any of their people. At least they haven't done so far. And it's not going to be a good look for them, is it? Because they're trying to obviously build up Errol Spence. So if Crawford just goes in there and completely outclasses Sean Porter, then that's not going to look too good for the image that they're trying to build up. So. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, hopefully that's the fight they can work towards. Let me know what you lot think. Thank you very much for watching.